Hello, everyone. I'm Theo, and I'm a Chief Strategy Officer in growthhackers.com. And today we will be discussing about the visibility in LLMs and what we can do to be more visible in LLMs and how people that they are searching on ChatGPT they will end up on us, and if not, what we can do to fix that. Now, there are quite important elements here. Understanding the future of LLM visibility and what's happening today. Now, talking about LLM visibility, it's not just about ChatGPT or Perplexity or Claude. Or Gemini, obviously. It's all about as well AI overviews, which is the next thing that we need always to remember. And the thing with AI in general being part of the user journey is that it has been changed a lot the behavior of the user, because up to now we use people to search for keywords. So it was what we were calling keywords based searching. But now, rather than searching keywords, they search intents. And by intents, that means that people they don't actually write few words to describe what they want, but because they do understand that LLMs they do know about understanding language, they come up with what we were calling in the past long tail keywords, and that is one of the issue that we need to support as well. So today we will be discussing about handling these kind of complexities and understanding first of all what is the landscape, and then getting some ideas of what we can do for this landscape in order for us to change the positioning that we have today. Because all the important elements that we were asking in the past was always about ranking on the first page of Google. Well, now the first page of Google, the first top 10 results, they are not even visible, because first you see the AI overview, then you see some ads. Sometimes you see the ads above. So it depends how Google is experiencing with ads placement. But then you end up with seeing the AI overview as a reply that it takes almost 100% of the above the fold space, and then after that you get the results, which is interesting. It's a new approach, and it's not the same that's happening with ChatGPT, where you just see the results. But in any case, what was happening before is that Google was actually serving us with list of links. Well, now this is not the case. Now what you get back is the answer to your problems. And because of that, we see something like 50% non-click rate, which means that people they get the answer, this answer is contained, which means that it actually contains what you asked for, and you don't have to click. Which means that we have a ton of visibility, but less clicks, because people they see us. We can appear, or we may not appear in AI overviews or in ChatGPT results, but people they don't click because they don't have the need to click, because the intent was actually learning about something. They learned about that, and then that's all. They stop the journey. So, and that's why one important element on GEO, which is about AI brand visibility, is actually doing everything we can so that making sure that every single click that we get will actually count, because that click will convert. And what we know is, and first questions that normally you are asking is, should we care? Is that okay? People, you do understand that AI overview is coming more and more for trying to cover as many intents as possible. Not every time, but in something like 80% of the times you will see an AI overview. Now, and the question is, okay, AI overview is Google. That's one thing. Should we care about ChatGPT? what's the traffic that it comes from ChatGPT? Well, the answer here is that normally we see already out of the clients we work with and all the tons of data points that we have, is that we see something like up to 20% of the traffic coming from ChatGPT, which is a big number, right? Already in a year time. So 20% of the traffic is coming from ChatGPT. Now, what is most important is that when we analyze the result of ChatGPT and the results in terms of the conversions, we have cases where we see something like 25 to 40% of the conversions coming from ChatGPT. Just imagine that. Imagine that we're talking about 10% of the traffic, 40% of the conversions, which means the traffic that's coming from ChatGPT converts better. Now, why it converts better? Because the intent is there. Because people that they search on ChatGPT to find something, they know what they're looking for, and the moment that they will find that something, they will click and they will convert. That is why you should care about LLMs in general and visibility through LLMs. Okay? Because a lot of people, they are telling us that that is very new, we shouldn't care about that, yet it's too early. And I'm saying, no, it's not too early. It could be 1 year old, but still it's too early maybe for the traffic, but it's not too early for the conversions. So that's why you need to do everything for you to be there. Now, the system that we will be seeing is a system that we have developed for that. Now, you may use your own system. The system is important on one hand, but the most important is for you to understand what needs to be done and how all the systems work. The problem that we have today is that although Google was coming with Google Search Console since ever, right? Not from the very beginning, but since ever, Google Search Console is the thing. Now, in ChatGPT, we don't have a Google Search Console, which means that ChatGPT is not telling us what are the keywords that people are searching for, where they ended up, if they clicked, how many clicks we got, nothing. We know nothing. We're blind coming from ChatGPT. Same for Perplexity, same for Gemini, same thing. We're blind, which means the only way for us to understand if we do appear in ChatGPT's prompts coming from clients, the only way for us to understand that is by running these prompts. So there is no other way currently. We believe that at some point, ChatGPT will come up with something like a Google Search Console, the same way that Google Search Console will start supporting. They have announced that by the end of the year, they will support all the AI overviews stuff. But for now, it's not there, which means you need to run the prompt, which means that if you want to appear for specific prompts and you need to understand if you appear versus your competitors or whatever, you need to build a process yourself to do that on a weekly basis so that you understand what's happening. So, and that's exactly what we have done. And that is why we will go through a system where what we're just discussing now is something that you can do. But as I said, the system should come second. The first one is for us all to understand the necessity, how we analyze, we monitor everything, and how we build the system that will actually work for us. Okay, now let's move from the system and let's move into a system. We call that Growth OS for many reasons, because we use this system for growing our clients, for growing our community, for growing growth hackers, and all the people that we work with. So now let's get into the system. Again, this is not, I'm just using the system to explain the concepts. Okay, I'm not selling the product. I have a basis for you to move from something which is very theoretical into something which is actually practical, and it will help me to explain what's happening there. Okay, now let's go there. So I will get into the platform. And the first thing that I will see, because this is the first result that that you can do, is that you need to understand what's happening with your traffic. Now, if I go, for example, to see growth hackers, then we see here that if I go into reporting, this is the kind of report that you need as well. And by the way, this report we offer free of charge. You can do that anytime. So the thing here is that you are able to, let me change the company. So here, so we are able to see what's happening with the traffic on the website. So if you see here, look what's happening there. You see that you do care about two things that are very important. So first of all, you need to remember that the data coming from Google Search Console, they take something like 3 days to arrive. So, but what's happening there is seeing that, look what's happening with Google. We see a lot of impressions. We see the positioning. The positioning is the red line. So we see how the position is going, and then we see what's happening with the impressions that client has, for example. Okay, and then we see the number of clicks. That is understanding what's happening there. So if you see here, with 1 million impressions, this company used to have 4,000 clicks on a specific month. Now with double of impressions, the clicks, they were not double. So and that's exactly what I told you before, that people, they see, they've been contained, but they don't get the results. Okay, they get the answers, they don't need to click, and that's why they do not end up on the landing page of the client. Okay, now that is in order for you to understand the positioning, what's happening with the three main numbers. The three numbers which you care about is actually impressions, and then is clicks, how many people they actually click for your website, and your overall ranking. And this thing here is the overall ranking on Google. Because in ChatGPT, we don't have the notion of ranking, we have the notion of mentions, which is different. It's very different because there is not a sequence there. It's not a list of links, it's a list of mentions. Now, that is one thing. Now, let's see how we can move from this thing into understanding what is happening with the geo element. And then obviously we need to understand how we move from assuming that we understood what's happening with our situation, how we move into the next thing, how we act upon that. Okay, now the first thing that we care about is what we call in geo, the first thing that you need to care about is something that we call the prompts. So if we go here, then the prompts are the most important elements, because it will tell you which are the prompts that you want to go after. Now, for finding prompts, there are multiple ways. And most of these ways, people, they don't speak with, and they don't speak for, because they don't analyze how to end up with the prompts. Now, let me discuss about the prompts a bit. Now, the first thing is that there is something that you may have prompts that they are custom prompts. You mean prompts that you know that you want to understand if you appear when someone is writing those. Clearly, that is not derived, not generated, not anything that it has to do with your keywords. It has to do with you deciding that if I want to understand if someone will write with whom to talk for growth hacking, then this company needs to appear. So that is a custom prompt, or best growth hacking agency in the US, or these kind of prompts. we may, even if any system will come up with those, we need to monitor if we appear there, how often, and who else is appearing when people are searching for that. Okay, so create your list of prompts. Normally, what you could do is that you can go into ChatGPT and you could start running these prompts to see if you appear, which is the logical thing to do, right? That's what we did before creating a system for that. And why we need to create this system? Because you can do that for 5 prompts. You can do that for 100 prompts, right? You can do that for 200 prompts, but you cannot do that 200 prompts every week or every second day that you want to understand. And then it's not about understanding the prompts and seeing if you appear or not. It's also classifying the results, because you need to understand who actually appears, how many times, for how long, who else came into the picture, all these things. Okay, now that is the first thing, that you create your list of prompts. Again, what I would do is I would get, before any system, I would get that. I will come into ChatGPT and I would just submit the prompt. And then I would see who is coming as a result. That's the first thing that I need to do. And actually, you need to do that before moving in anything else. Okay, now you will see if people will actually, you will see here a list of people, if you will see things. So you see, for example, we do care that growth hackers is the, we will appear as the first result, and if we have other providers there, then we will be able to see more out of what you will be searching. And then at some point, you may get even some links. Okay, now that said, let's move back to what we had here. So as we said, a list of prompts. Then there are a list of prompts that you want to generate, because at the end of the day, you don't know the prompts, right? So you need something, you need an assistance to go after. So yes, for example, if you see here my custom prompts, yes, I do believe that I wanted for some particular prompts to appear, but I cannot do that for all the prompts that I care about, especially if they are regional or topical or based on the keywords that I have in my company. All right, so that's why these are the custom prompts. Now, there are some other prompts that are about to be generated by AI, and that's exactly something that you can do yourself. So let's assume that we have here, we want, for example, about growth hacking. And then if that is a topic, for example, let's assume that I like the language, and you will see why the language plays a role. Then you say, okay, generate prompts that people would use to search for growth hacking. And then you see here some prompts like that, right? How can small business owners leverage Reddit ads to enhance their growth marketing strategies and stand out in competitive markets? You see different prompts here in order for you to say, okay, that is nice. I like this kind of stuff. So let's say, okay, I like that. I'm saving that, and then I'm saving, learn how growth hacking techniques and tactics can transform your marketing skills. And very nice. I like that as well. Okay, so now here, these are prompts that I just created, and these are AI generated because of the keyword that I searched for. And this is level number 2. So level number 1 was custom prompts. Level number 2 is AI generated prompts. Well, still, these are not the important elements. These are still things that we need to do. And now, if we want to create these prompts here, then there is a prompt to create the prompts. And tomorrow, what I will be sending you the video, I will be sending you the prompts to create these prompts. Because normally what's happening is that you want to get the prompts out, you submit the keyword, and then there is an OpenAI thing that will actually run a prompt to generate the prompt for you. Okay, and I will share that with you, and then you will get the full idea of how you can build that as well. So level number 3, you need here to start working in elements that are more related to your business. So that said, when we are setting something like a keyword, when we're building a prompt, because that's what we're doing here, we're building prompts, right? And then what we will do is that these prompts will actually be the prompts that we will analyze. But first, we build the prompts. Now, building the prompts, it has to do a lot with the foundational things of 4 elements combined together. Now, first one is what we call the seed keywords, which is keywords that you consider to be your main keywords that you want to start after. Now, after that, there is a full keyword list that is coming out of your keyword research, deciding that you want to go after a particular keyword list, and you ended up believing that these are the keywords that you need to focus on. Okay, and in order normally to do that, you need to run something which is in our SEO terminology is called a keyword research. So now normally you go and you see here now we are in a module named GEO, but there is another module named SEO, and that SEO we have the keyword research. Now in the keyword research, we are able to understand all the keywords that we're focusing on. So this is the keyword, this is the repository of keywords that we're focusing on, and we see the full history. So in order for us to understand these kind of keywords, we have done all kind of keyword research and all what we call analysis, keyword assisting, and different things. And there are different frameworks for you to do so. Because at the end of the day, just imagine something simple. You need to use keywords for actually building the prompts. And the prompts will be as good as the keywords. So if you build prompts for keywords that they have no chance, then that nobody's asking, then it does make sense for you. So that's why it's so important that keywords will be selected properly, and keywords will actually be well defined in a way that the prompt will be well defined, which means the results that you will be getting will be well defined. Okay, so in order for you to understand the keywords, what we do here is that we do the full keyword analysis, and at some point when we see that we have keywords of particular behavior, then we say, okay, that we like that keyword and we want that keyword to become as a keyword opportunity. The moment that that will become a keyword opportunity, that is the moment that it will appear into us building the prompts. Okay, because it is a keyword opportunity. Now, there are different frameworks around that. And one framework is a framework that we call the 5 Ws. Now, the 5 Ws is something which we say, let's assume something very simple. Let's assume that someone would like to search for digital marketing. You see here, we have the same keywords. We may have keywords with opportunities. We have keywords. These are the keywords that we have decided that we care about. Okay, now let's assume that I will now start from a seed keyword here. And I say, I would like to analyze the 5 Ws for digital marketing. Now, and this thing here is I'm just clicking generate the five Ws. And I will get back information of the 5 Ws of that, which means what is the keyword about, and what we call the category, what is about, which category that is about, other categories of digital marketing, and then some why somebody would search for that, and then is who would search for that and what else that guy would search. Let me just do that. It's a prompt here. So I will regenerate that. Let's see if it will bring something better, because normally it will end up with all 5 of them. So I don't get here the who, then what else. So let's find that in the keywords that I had adjusted before. So the thing here is, again, growth hacking techniques, right? What is that? The description of the category, because these are keywords. So what's happening here is that you select those. If you agree with that, You select those, and what you do is that actually you enrich these keywords, because what you want to understand is not just the keyword, but you need to understand two more elements. How many people are searching for those keywords, and what is the competition of these keywords? How many other people are searching for these keywords? Okay, and in order to enrich, you select those that you care about. Okay, and then we say, okay, here we're talking about growth hacking techniques. Maybe we're interested about digital marketing strategies or performance marketing methods. And then the why is why somebody would search for that: to achieve rapid business growth. That's not bad, because that is actually intent. I want to learn about growth hacking techniques because I want to achieve rapid business growth, right? And because I'm a startup founder and entrepreneur. So that is me, and that is my persona. So I need to search, and that will be part of my prompting. And what else? If I'm looking for growth hacking techniques, what else should I search for? And that is, I'm searching for marketing analytics software or for case studies on successful startups. You see, so these are the elements of what we are doing here. So, and these are the keywords that at the end of the day, we may say, okay, we like that, and we would like to enrich these 9 keywords. So now these 9 keywords will be enriched for the countries that I have been selected. So, because different keywords will have different volumes and different competition for different countries. And that's why we say normally we don't run the keywords despite the geography. Geography is part of what we're doing. Okay, now, and that is, obviously, you understand that this is a prompt that actually results a prompt, or it's a prompt that actually results keywords. Now, you may do that in a system like that, or what you can do is that you can use the same 5 Ws framework. It's a free custom GPT that a custom GPT that comes from growth hackers, from us, that you may say, I would like to find the 5 Ws for a particular keyword, right? And then you may say, again, I will put the same. So I will write the keyword, and I will say, what was the keyword before? That was digital growth hacking techniques, right? So I will take that one. I will come on ChatGPT, and I will say, I will paste that one. So now what custom GPT will do for me is that actually it will give me the full analysis the same way that I had before. So here's the what's the product, and here is the why, and this is why somebody may search for that. And then below that is the which, so in which category, which is the user intent, and now you get here the user intent. And then below is the who is willing to get into it. So growth hacking means for startup founders, for solopreneurs, whatever. And then what else? You see that what I'm giving you here is not science fiction. Is simple things which is start from you understanding your business and you asking and getting something as a result of it, right? And again, I use that system to do so, and obviously I have a prompt for me to generate that, obviously, but the same thing I do here. I have a prompt and a custom GPT for you all that you can do exactly the same stuff. So you may start thinking and analyzing your clustering based off a 5 Ws framework of your main keywords. And you can repeat that for all the keywords that you may have. And you will end up analyzing a decent amount of keywords for you to understand and enrich and see how people could end up to you. Okay, again, what you see here and what you see in the platform, they do share one important element that I will share with you, which is nothing more than the prompt to generate the prompt, or the prompt to generate the custom GPT. And if you see here, now I will send that to you. So if you see here, we come here, we go into the settings, and you see here there is the 5 Ws framework, and that is exactly the keyword. That's exactly the prompt. You see this prompt here, it says analyze the keyword that I will be giving you using the 5 Ws framework, which is that, and then we have an example of how that could be done, right? And then that's how you get the result. So you get that prompt, you put it on ChatGPT, and then you get your cluster for every keyword you have. As simple as that. Okay. Now, and that's exactly what I do in my system as well. Now, let's go back. This is the way that we understand and we ended up and why we need to end it up with keywords. Now, let's go back. We will go here into the prompts. And what I explained here was actually the keywords that you see there. Because at the end of the day, what we said before is that the moment that I will be asking you to, I will decide to monitor specific keywords, that is the time that those keywords will end up here. And if they will end up here, then I will be able to select these keywords to come up with the prompt that I will be monitoring for my LLM monitoring and suggestions for improvement. Okay, now these are just a part of the keywords, which is just a part of what you need to do. The next one is what we call the personas. Now, for the personas, you understand that the prompt that the founder would write and the prompt that a marketeer or an investor working in VCs would write is not the same. These people will write a different prompt, right? So you need to have the personas. And in order for you to have the personas, the same way that we said before, in order to have the keywords, you need to do a keyword research. And what we call a keyword hopping, from one keyword to another, up to the moment that you will end up with the 200 keywords you care about. No more than that. You don't need more than 200 keywords. Sometimes we say you don't even need more than 50 keywords. Okay, but a safe number, because people, they keep asking us, what is the number of keywords we need to monitor? Saying 200 keywords are good for a business that is generating a few millions. Okay, you don't need more. Then the rest will come. But those you monitor needs to be around 200. Now, let's go back. On the personas. In order for you to do the personas, you need actually to explain to a system about your personas. Because here you may end up just writing the personas. You may say, I would like to do that because, just imagine the following. If I'm saying, I would like to do about social commitments as a keyword for a founder in the United Kingdom, then in English, then I know that if I will generate here the prompts, I know that I will get 20 prompts that founders in the UK in English will use to search for social commitments. Okay, and now let's generate that and we'll get back the results. So let's see what we'll get back. Here we get. So best UK agencies for startup growth hacking. Okay, typical thing. Now, how can I achieve sustainable growth for my tech companies? Different things, not always with the same keyword, social commitments, but you see that it's implied in here. Okay, and then we see different keywords here, different prompts. I say, okay, which UK agency offers the best growth marketing solutions? Fine, I like that. I like that. How drive customer acquisition for my startup and visiting? These things. When I see prompts that I see that my clients could use, then that is something that I like. Now, that again here, what we do here is quite generic. So because we're talking about personas, and you said founders. Well, in reality, the word founders is not actually describing your persona. You need more. You need to understand more of your personas, and then based on that, you will be able actually to explain everything about your persona. We're talking about ICP, right? Your ideal customer persona or your ideal buyer persona. Those two sometimes are not the same. But let's assume that these are all that you need. Now here, what you need to do is that you need to spend some time analyzing your personas. Because I know it's easy. Most people, what they will do is that they will just take the keywords and they will turn them into prompts. And they will end up with prompts that maybe people are not searching at all. Well, here, what you need to do is that at that moment, you need to make a step back and you need to start analyzing your personas. And in order for you to do so, there is something which is called, strategically speaking, there is something it's called strategic personas. Now, synthetic personas. Now, synthetic personas are those personas that you generate, and then when you do have your personas, it starts with a brief. And by brief, we mean that, look, we start with a brief of the industry, of the industry of us and the product that we have, which normally they come from the master data of the brand. You see, you don't need a GEO platform, you need a system around that. And then we're talking about the target audience, and then we're talking about geography, and then we're talking about the use cases that you want to cover, and then the pain points. You see? And then if we have different insights, for example, competitor insights or different analytics, you need to put that as part of your persona brief. Now, this persona brief, what will do is that it will generate your personas. So if, for example, I will come here into another company, let's say I will go for YTPG. And what we'll see here is that we'll go for the personas, and we will be able not to generate personas because we have already generated them, but these are personas that we know by name, and we know exactly what these personas are about. For example, if I will see, okay, we have for this persona, because in a company you have more personas than just one. Nobody's speaking with one ICP. In most companies, we have something like 3 to 5 ICPs. Okay. Now, if we see what's happening with Tom, now Tom is our ICP, our persona. Now, Tom and Jessica and Mark. Now, if we know about Tom, now Tom, we know is a newcomer, and it's a male. It's a sales associate in a retail company, and that is the bio. And that is his goal, that is frustrations, the user needs and everything, and his technology, he's using, and work experience and everything. And what we may say, and what Tom is being influenced by, and all these things, and the demographics of Tom. So that is Tom. And here, even here, we may say, okay, that is Tom, but that's not enough for us. We need to go and create even variations. So we may come here and we may say, look, we have a variation, and let's assume that I would like to do a variation of Tom, which is a budget conscious. Okay, then I will generate variation, and then it will generate variation here for Tom, which is a budget conscious thing. Or I may have advanced features. For example, I may want to run this persona, and I want to use a methodology which is called job to be done. And then if I want to do this persona refinement using this methodology, then I will refine that persona using that methodology. So you need to see your personas from a more scientific option that you used to, because your personas will affect your prompts, and your prompts will affect your rankings, and your rankings will affect your conversions. So that's why keywords and personas, they come up together. Okay, now, if you see the way that we generate the prompts, you will see that all these elements here are part of the prompt that is generating the prompts that we will be monitoring. And I know it may sound a bit confusing, but it's nothing more than a prompt that's generating a prompt. And if you see here, if we go into that prompt here, you see that the main prompt that we search, because these are the prompts that we're talking about. Look, the thing is very simple, that it says, well, you are an expert in user behavior and search patterns. Now generate X number of prompts, we say here 20, unique search queries that personas could use when looking for solutions for our brand description, which is what we're doing. And then this is our solutions, these are seed keywords, these are keywords, these are personas, and this is our countries. You see? And then we generate the prompt, and we consider different things here. That is the prompt, the master prompt, that is actually generating the small prompts that you will start monitoring. So this is the thing that is being executed the moment that I come here and I say, I would like to get into here, which is the GEO, here. When I'm talking about prompts, the moment I'm selecting that, that is exactly what I'm doing. So I will go into my own, the comments that the command I was using before. So, and in the personas, that's exactly what we're doing. So we select that and then we generate the prompt. I believe by now it should be very clear why we need to deal to make a step back, and we need to understand about our keywords and about the resulting keywords, the initial keywords we started from, and the personas. And yes, there are two more things here, the target countries and the target languages, because and these are parts of the master data of your company. You need those because you need to generate different things. So if you see here on the website, there is something like, if you see everything is here, but if you go into, we have competitors, and then we have target countries. So here we define the target countries, which is everything we do are for those 3 target countries, and here are the target languages, which means that if I want to do, I will select, for example, that I want Spanish language, and I believe that I want Spanish language as part of my language. That's fine. It's all good. So I will save the Spanish language, and then I will be able, when I go back to search for the prompts and of the personas, then I will have the Spanish language as well in here. And then I will be able to generate the same keywords, the same digital marketing strategies for small business owners in the UK, but they're searching in Spanish. Okay, or it makes more sense to put on in the United States and they search in Spanish. And then we generate that, and then we will get prompts that are in Spanish. Okay, and from that point on, we will be able to select those parts. Now, that said, what is quite important is, you see here, we didn't get in Spanish, and the reason for that is because we didn't say that on the prompt that it needs to read the languages, right? So we change the prompt, we put the language there, and then it will generate based on the prompt. Because at the end of the day, this thing here is expecting a prompt. Okay, and then you get back what you want to get. That is all. Now, you created the prompts. So here, and there is another 4th category of the prompts, which is actually a very interesting approach of searching Google Search Console and finding things that are coming, that are long term, that most probably these are what people are searching for. So just imagine the following: in your Google Search Console, you will get keywords that are 1-word keywords, 2-word keywords, and that will be all. But here, what you may see with these pattern, which is a regular expression, I know it's a difficult thing, but don't bother with that. But you may select out of your Google Search Console those words and phrases that they could be your prompts, or very close to be your prompts. You see here, we say these are what people are searching for, and then how long should you wait before publishing a piece of content to a new one? You see, that's something that people were searching for, and we may say, okay, that's fine. I like that one, and I want that one to actually become part of my prompt. So now that became part of my prompt. Now I do have the prompts. The next thing that I need to do is that I need to run these prompts. And here, that's exactly what's happening. Here now, it's coming up with an analysis saying that we are looking for that and we are setting that every time. And we have an interval. So saying that we would like, and you need to do the same. You would do the same if you would search those in ChatGPT, right? In ChatGPT, you cannot do that on a daily basis. Just imagine you can end up with 300 prompts that you need to run on a daily basis in different languages. So it's tough, right? It's tough. So you need to systemize that somehow. So and what we do is that we are able to run that now, these analysis, and then we run these analysis in different systems. So for example, we use OpenAI, Gemini, Perplexity, and we run these things to understand what is happening there. Now, let's see, and we say that this will happen for 8 custom prompts and 39 different AI-generated prompts. And that's nothing more. So 54 prompts altogether in that particular example. Okay, and if you see these are 54, is nothing more than the summary of those here, 7 and 35 and 4 and 12. Okay, that is all. These are the 54 that you see there. Now, when the system is running, then the next thing that you need, that the system will do, is that will actually classify them. And you need this kind of classification, because at the end of the day, you do all these to classify things and understand where you appear. Let's see the results. Let's see, by classifying that, by classifying for your brand, by classifying for you, that you end up with some interesting elements. Now, I will get into the dashboard, and what we do is that we will see what kind of information we get here. Okay, now we have our 54 prompts. We have different personas, and we have different competitors, and we analyze for them. Now, let's assume that we have here, that is an example. Let's assume that we have this company here, and then we see where we are doing versus our competitors, or those that we believe as competitors in all 4 platforms. Okay, and then we see here for something which is also very important, which is called non-branded prompts. Now, non-branded prompts are those prompts that they do not have your company name. Because if I want to search for alternative to Calm, for example, as a brand, then that is a branded prompt. So it's very important for Calm to know that when somebody is prompting and is searching for alternative to Calm, they appear together with their competitors. And who are the competitors? So that's why, the same way that in Google Search Console, we have branded keywords and non-branded keywords. And by the way, as of yesterday, Google in Google Search Console decided to give us that in a better way as the way that we had them before. So now what's happening is that there's exactly the same thing as these keywords into the prompts. Okay, we have branded prompts and non-branded prompts. Okay, now in non-branded prompts, we know how many mentions we have. You remember before we said about mentions. So mentions are very important. So mentions are here. We have a split based on the platform, and then we have a split based on the references for non-branded. Now, besides that, we have the keywords, how many times they appeared, and which are the keywords, the top 20 keywords that you are not mentioned, and you should, because these are the keywords you care about. Sometimes you will be able here to see keywords with 0 mentions, but with mentions of your competitors. And that is something quite important for you to understand, that if you believe that this is a keyword you need to go after, then you need to plan for. And there are, if you're interested, we may have another session explaining you how you move from the conclusions into adjustments, and what are the suggestions, how you get suggestions of what to fix. Okay, now here we ended up with this kind of stuff. For example, if I go into, let's assume that I will change that brand to, for example, another one. Let's see if we have something here. So you see, these are the top prompts based on the competitors, and people will say, look, these are prompts only mentioning competitors. And these are prompts that sometimes these are the prompts you need to go after, because your competitors are here for a prompt that you consider that your potential users would use to end up with you and to you. Okay, so that's it. And you see here, these are the competitors, and sometimes you appear, sometimes you don't, but you know exactly what's happening there. Now let's go back into the other brand. So if we go into the example that we had before. So we analyzed here, as we said, the prompts, and then you go down and you analyze the brands that they've been discovered in the prompts. That is also quite important because, at the end of the day, ChatGPT will not just bring what you will ask to bring. It will bring more. Okay, and then, for example, I come here, I see these brands that they've been result of a classification. You remember that we said the other time that we do classification? That's the kind of classification we do. The classification for understanding our competitors and getting the brands and getting people as well. And I will walk you through that. Okay, so here, these are brands. And now we know that these brands, they came up because of dynamic classification, you see. And let's assume that we see this company named Domo. We don't know what that is. And we say, okay, now let's see who is this one. And then we click the button, and then it will run a prompt. It will analyze everything about this brand, and we will know what that is. So that is, Domo is a cloud-based business intelligence platform, provides data visualization. Okay, that's fine. That is a brand. We know that brand. We don't care. But if you go down, let's say, for example, we go for a company named, let's say, Hootsuite, right? And let's assume that Hootsuite, we consider Hootsuite to be a competitor or single grain. Let's see here, single grain. It seems ChatGPT was coming a lot with single grain. So I will check that. So it's a digital marketing agency. Okay, you see, so here we may say, okay, that's a brand new competitor. We didn't know that competitor, that's fine. So if we decide that, then we'll press a button, and that button here says set as a competitor. So that button will turn that company into a competitor. So it will go in the list of the competitors. Okay, now we see here, as we said, the brands, and then we have different mentions by brand, by platform. So we know which are the brands that they actually get most of the mentions in different platforms. And then we know the top 5 prompts for the non-branded prompts now. So we know those that they do not mention our name, but they're mentioning other names. And then we out in here, we know the brand mentions. So those that they actually of the branding prompts. Who else appears? For example, we know that if somebody is searching for this brand name, GrowthX here, HubSpot will appear, LinkedIn may appear, and Salesforce may appear. We know that, not may, will appear. We know that because we analyze, we classify based on these keywords. And then this is what we call brand visibility. Now, brand visibility is about where we are in different platforms and how we move week after week. That's what's happening there. That's what you see here. And besides that, there is something which is called the brand sentiment. Because at the end of the day, when we classify, we don't just classify based on our competitors, but we classify sentiment. And here we say, for example, that per platform, we are able to understand which are the negative or the neutral or positive mentions. And we are able to see those positive mentions for our own brands. Okay? Based on the platform. So we select the platform here, and then we know which are the mentions. And then besides that, we see all the visibility of our brands alone, because above we had all the visibility for all the brands. Now here we have the visibility of our brands, how we run the show, and then is the sentiment analysis for branded and non-branded keywords. So you see this kind of stuff. At the end of the day, you need these to understand what to do next and how to move from here. And then besides that, there are people that they've been discovered. For example, if I will go into another brand, because at the end of the day, we don't care just about the prompts, we care about our people. And if you see here, we see people that we do understand that these people, some of them are our people, some of them are people that they just came up. They may be journalists that we care about as well. They may be different people, but here that's exactly the kind of classification that it ends up finding the people. We do know who are our people, so we know that it's not just us having here. It's not just the results of the prompts, but it's also the people. Because at the end of the day, if it is It's not growth hackers that has been mentioned, but it's Theomulos, which is the same thing, right? Because at the end of the day, I represent the brand. So that is all. So that said here, this is the way that we need to analyze. Again, it's nothing more than running the prompts, making sure of which are the prompts we need to run, and making sure that we run the prompts, making sure that they do include the correct analysis. And then there are so many other things, right? There are competitors classifications, and then people classification, and all the things that you need to do here. And at the end of the day, you do all of these because you need to come up with a plan. And you need to come up with an analysis and an AI overview plan where you will be able to understand how you move from here. And that's the next thing. Obviously, 1 hour is not enough. Just imagine we took 1 hour just to explain what you need to monitor and how you can monitor these things. Now, if you are interested in the topic, we will send you these on an email, and if you like, you may just reply that you may actually get into the next level, which is, okay, now I know what to do. I know my prompts. I know everything I need to know. And from that point on, now I need to start correcting things. Now, how you do that, how you correct things. So that is a topic for the next thing. So, do you have any questions regarding what you just saw? I know there were a lot. That is so clear. So if you have any question, feel free. I'm here. So just utilize me in order to ask, and I will jump and I will show you everything. So, do you have any questions regarding what we're just discussing now? So that means they were all clear, and you were very happy with everything in here. So we will be sharing with you the video. We will share with you the prompts, and we will open up the new webinar that it will be for the next step, which is from the moment you know everything, what you do and how you move into fixing those. Okay, and what kind of tools you need there, what kind of analysis you need to do there, and all the things like that. So, thank you very much for your time, and you will be getting the video tomorrow in tomorrow's email. Thank you. Bye for now.